Angel Reese's partial breakdown. Angel Reese has gone into full-blown meltdown mode after significant sponsorships were canceled. The backlash is deafening, and several major companies started to back off. The Bayou Barbie has just hit a branding brick wall, following Ice Cub's public rejection and fan rumors that escalate into outright condemnation. The saddest thing is that it all began when Caitlin Clark dominated her city and her fame. Miss Angel Reese, what happened to her? When she's in Indiana for All-Star, her Reebok campaign catches you off guard. Take control of your trap. Angel Reese was perceived by them as the WNBA's next face, the marketing treasure trove, the brand queen, and the fan magnet. The tide suddenly changed, though. The headlines began to change. The industry whispers became more audible. We are currently witnessing the aftermath in real time. Once lining up around the block, sponsorships are silently disappearing for Ice Cube. They are on their way to retrieve Ice Cube. We are aware of how this operates. It won't take long. Things have been strained behind closed doors. Several significant campaigns that were connected to Angel, and some of them have been put on hold. Some just scrapped, while others did so forever. Agencies are conversing. You understand what they mean when they look at the ROI, engagement, and numbers? She might not be worth the wager no more. Furthermore, do you know who set off the PR fire? Cube of Ice. You see the headline from TMZ, Ice Cube? I apologize, Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark was the only recipient of the $5 million offer. You just need one interview with TMZ that was very honest. The impact was nuclear, but it was only a few words. Regarding Angel Reese, they told us different things. When asked why his Big Three league gave Caitlin Clark and only Caitlin Clark a $5 million deal, Cube responded in this way. No one else, not even Angel. Only Clark. Why? Because Caitlin may unlock millions, according to the sponsor. Not so much Angel. The people who wish to make the payment have confirmed this. Sponsors. Cube made it clear. I'm not in the business of financial loss. The confirmation that struck more forcefully than any headline was there. Why would a corporate sponsor take the chance if Cube, a person with commercial acumen and street repute, believes she isn't worth it? Ice Cube himself was interviewed by TMZ Sports at LAX this week, and the Big Three honcho stated that Angel Reese won't be presented with a deal anytime soon. Let's be honest. This is beyond a missed opportunity. Perception is key, and perception is what matters here. Executives immediately began reassessing everything after those remarks were made public. The excitement waned one by one as one could almost hear the phone calls asking, "Hey, are we sure we're going forward with that Angel Reese rollout next quarter?" The reason the numbers don't support the hoopla isn't because Angel isn't talented. Regarding Angel Reese, they told us different things. Caitlin Clark, however, is another matter. It was a planned move when the Big Three made her a $5 million offer. They were aware that she could generate revenue, attention, and crowds for just 10 games during the regular season and 2 playoffs. Each game is worth $500,000. That's ROI on par with LeBron. Sponsors are pleading for that kind of celebrity power. Compare that to Angel Reese now. Nothing, no discussion, no offer, no compromise. And since this wasn't Twitter noise, it was a difficult pill for fans who fell for the It Girl story. This was the loud voice of money. When Caitlin Clark visited Chicago, she completely transformed the city. She seemed to have taken over the city. CC to MJ. In the rack, CC receives the same treatment as MJ. God, oh God, this is where it hurts the most. Caitlin Clark was literally occupying Chicago at the time of this. Her home is Angel City. Clark was surrounded by fans like she was Michael Jackson during his heyday, while Reese's Reebok Trap commercial faded into the background. People scream her name, rush to her, and wait for hours to sign autographs. It wasn't staged. It wasn't a promotion. This actually happened. It was best expressed in the online commentary. After spotting her trap, Caitlin Clark took it. For a period. Well, I'm not certain of anything else but the straight numbers that we continue to display to people. Angel is now confronted with a harsh truth. The excitement that got her into the league isn't enough now. Because as soon as sponsors began contrasting actual data, actual impact, and actual. The contrast did not favor her in terms of marketability. It was always in Caitlin Clark's favor. Sometimes you have to grasp where you're at. Look, they're discussing how Caitlin Clark stepped into Angel Reese's shoes. You see, you don't have to keep trying to make fun of her because of this. She conquered the city. The risk of overbranding before exceeding is that's the danger of thinking followers are worth the same as money. And now the meltdown starts as the bids stop flooding in and the negotiations dry up. Slow, quiet, painful, not loud, not public. The most awkward thing is that Ice Cube said nothing hurtful. He was honest. And those who have the checkbooks repeat that truth. Chicago was taken over by Caitlin Clark. She spent hours signing autographs. This wasn't any extras, was it? Compensated to appear in the scene. No, these were actual individuals attempting to obtain autographs. We have something. Originally meant to be the star, Angel Reese is now the cautionary story. Just let's say this. Upon arriving in Chicago, Caitlin Clark didn't simply show up, she assumed control. We're talking about full-fledged fandom. If you were wondering whose city it was intended to be, Angel Reese was the obvious choice. However, Caitlin's coronation swiftly evolved from what began as her trap. They spoke aloud. On the internet, they stated it. In the streets, they also said it. Angel Reese's trap was taken over by Caitlin Clark. Literally as well as figuratively. As if she were Michael Jordan's second coming. The streets of Chicago were crowded with fans yelling her name, waving jerseys, and chasing her. Chicago is the largest Barbie and the queen of the rack. Because basketball wasn't the only thing Caitlin Clark accomplished in Chicago. The topic was cultural hegemony. The city, the people, the excitement all embraced her. She was even proclaimed queen of the rack by the memes. The game of perception altered at that point. Angel had the Reebok deal, the swagger, and the slogans. However, Caitlin had the people, and people don't tell lies. Aside from the reality that an LSU arena cannot accommodate even half as many people. However, this is where things became even more chaotic. As the commotion surrounding CC erupted, Angel Reese began to vanish. She was a dubious national broadcast game, still day-to-day till the big matchup. Indeed, injuries to the back are serious. However, fans being fans began to investigate, speculate, and inquire as to whether she was indeed too injured to play or simply too astute to take the chance. Direct analogy. I'm not sure how you could even think about competing with this. The reason for this is that the contrast would be starkly apparent if Reese was lounging around while ratings plummeted and Caitlin was out there packing venues. She didn't want to be clearly outdrawn on live television, according to several followers. Others stated, her camp warned her to keep quiet since they knew what was coming. And to be honest, it's not that unrealistic given how social media handles these tales. The league and the sponsors couldn't rely on Angel Reese to draw in enough viewers to make that deal worthwhile. According to reports, even Ice Cub's team had. Angel's name had previously been highlighted for engagement drop-offs prior to her absence from these games. Less excitement, less momentum, less fervor. That is what sponsors consider. And that's a warning sign in the business world, the size of a WNBA venue. Become a dog and reach the stage when you can win a national championship. The first one to return to LSU without that kind of attitude or that grudge. Furthermore, I believe that we must allow these young ladies to be authentically themselves. You see, the numbers are important here. Numbers also don't lie. Let's discuss the facts. Caitlin Clark's top-selling jerseys. Her performance attendance. TV ratings and sellouts were double or triple what the WNBA achieved the previous season. And it's not just home games for the Indiana Fever. We are discussing games on the road. Everywhere, she is the attraction. You're not able to measure up. You don't have as many Instagram followers as you do. That's fantastic. I won't detract from the fact that you are among the WNBA's more well-known brands. You are not Caitlin Clark, but you are a celebrity in your own way. There is a distinction. Let's not pretend that the numbers are close, but Angel Reese is still a name and a star. Her jersey sales are respectable but not particularly noteworthy. Even after winning the national championship, LSU was unable to fill half of its home arena. And her presence doesn't have the same impact without the viral beefs and social media drama. According to Ice Cube's, we sat down and examined the real numbers, but the draw was absent. The fever wasn't present. I didn't mean to pun it. Because of this, the same remark is frequently used by business insiders and sports YouTubers. Numbers don't lie, but men and women do. Sponsors want assurances, not speculation, when it comes time to make the payments. Additionally, Caitlin Clark delivers for a period. Therefore, it is not a question of whether Angel Reese is talented. She does. It's unclear if the image and the drama are advancing or impeding her. And in light of what we just seen in Chicago and what Ice Cube told us, that response is becoming quite loud. Angel, please just let it go. In fact, there is no comparison between you two, which is why I think you are making yourself look crazy. This section is more powerful than any screen in the paint when it comes to Angel Reese. She's experiencing a severe crisis of identity, not the lighthearted romantic comedy in which she discovers who she is and starts a bakery. No, everyone is talking about the post-sponsorship media breakdown. Since Caitlin Clark is no longer in the picture, people are beginning to wonder, for the first time, who Angel Reese is. You should quit making every effort to become attached to this girl, since she has formally entered and assumed control of your trap. And it goes beyond any dubious rhetoric. That is the cultural critique directly from the front lines of the sports industry. YouTubers, fans, and commentators are all loudly expressing their opinions. The reason behind Angel's constant attachment to Caitlin. Each and every quote, tweet, and headline, she is in the center, but as a shadow in the media cycle rather than a competitor on the court. Keep the vision provided one of the most realistic phrases, eloquently explaining it. Now that you're competent enough to stand alone, why don't you? Boom. That's all. That's the whole problem. She is not a mere benchwarmer who is trying to gain attention. She has a unique tale to share as a WNBA starter. However, each time she inserts Clark into the conversation or turns it into a comparison game, she's essentially admitting that being in the spotlight is insufficient unless Caitlin is also included. The business of losing money. Naturally, Angel Reese was not given the 5M like Caitlin Clark. This is where things start to get complicated. Because the wealthy and powerful brands don't enjoy drama. They adore predictability. They adore regularity. As well as Angel. The constant glow was what they desired, but she's bringing pyrotechnics instead. It was more than simply a sneaker contract, that Reebok collaboration. It was a risk, a complete wager on appearance rather than ability. They relied on her reputation, social influence, and post-title swagger. However, that gamble appears somewhat hazardous given that the data don't match the hype. It should have been an enormously successful day for your networks and sponsors. Sponsors don't want their content to go viral one day and disappear the next. Instead of subtweets and side glances, they want steadiness. Therefore, Angel will continue to watch agreements go awry before they even debut, unless she starts developing a brand that isn't dependent on Caitlin Clark's success. The problem is that it's not finished yet. Not at all. However, this is what occurs when you don't just do what you're supposed to do and instead keep attaching yourself to other people. You have folks now. One of the doors is still open. Angel Reese has a chance to make a significant comeback if she quits pursuing comparison and instead pursues authenticity. The sort of redemptive storyline that endures forever on YouTube. Because let's avoid confusion. She is skilled. She exudes presence. She has the disposition. All she has to do is quit attempting to be Aunt Caitlin Clark and become the Angel Reese's best. For a period. And that leads us to the crucial question. What happens next, literally? Will Angel go radio silent and let the season unfold? Or will she step out and confront the criticism, speak to the fans, and take responsibility for the chaos? Given how loud that quiet is, especially following a run of postponed shows, injury absences, and brand retractions. No one can be truthful. What you all want them to say must be exactly what they say. The impression is that's what it is. Here's the plan, then. Stop making noise if Angel desires that redemptive arc. Give up the Barbie against Queen charade. Begin to embrace reality. Let the game speak for itself. Theatrics are boring to fans. Instead of hype machines, they want hoopers. Caitlin Clark brings both, so she's eating right now. If Angel quits comparing herself to someone she isn't even racing, she might be able to do the same. Seized control of Chicago. And Ice Cube was talking about this star power. This is how it will seem in every city, state, and location she visits. Due to Caitlin Clark is not going anywhere, that much is certain. She is currently the center of the league. She is the ticket, the face, and the ratings. It's not shadow. It's merely math. Therefore, you can either find your own lane or continue to veer toward an accident. You're not going to win. Angel Reese may succeed in her own right. Let's face it. She doesn't have to compete with Caitlin for her spotlight. She should stop rushing toward it as if it were the sole source of light in the space. Multiple stars are desired by the WNBA, but they must be unique. Not overlapping, distinct, and not compulsive. It's not even a disc, yet this is the last word. The facts are what they are. If a trap was never yours in the first place, you can't take it over. A viral Ice Cube interview or a few lost sponsorships aren't the only things at stake in this entire collapse. This concerns a public reckoning, a fresh start, and the opportunity to understand that impact, not image, is what star power is all about. The impact of Caitlin Clark is apparent, quantifiable, and real. And Angel Reese finds herself in a difficult situation. Due to star power, make sure to subscribe. Chases fades with clout and salary.